Okay, back in the cockpit trying to do a little recording again after a long time of not doing any at all. We're on the ground at the South Santa Clara County Airport in coastal California below San Jose. And I wanted to just do a quick hop over to Monterey. It shouldn't take too long. And I'm flying this new marvelous helicopter that I'm not terribly familiar with yet, so I'm not going to be very smooth at it. But we'll see how we get on. This is a multi-million-dollar aircraft, and this is a pretty good rendering of it, and I'm enjoying learning it. But it takes some learning, so we'll see how we do as we go over here. Looks like we'll be flying through over Gilroy here, and then eventually we'll be getting to Salinas and then out to Monterey. I believe this highway should take us to those places, so we'll follow the highway. It is a common thing to fly along highways for small aircraft that fly low and slow, so we should be keeping our eye out for other airplanes doing the same thing. But in simulator, you don't have that kind of flight generally represented as other airplanes. Actually, the other aircraft that we may encounter while we're in the simulator are actually real flights that are happening, typically either business jets and above, mostly commercial, not a lot of general aviation airplanes in my experience. Anyway, we'll follow the highway and see where it takes us. So Hollister is off to our left over there, apparently. It always intrigues me when I see garments out in public that proudly proclaim the name Hollister. I presume that they are being marketed, labeled after that town over there. And I've been to Hollister, and you know what, to be honest, it's not a very nice place. It's kind of a strange thing to see on garments everywhere. A lot of other places that would be worth bragging about, like Santa Maria or San Luis Obispo or other fun places like that. But Hollister? Yeah. I think Salinas is better than Hollister. Salinas isn't much either, to be honest. Okay, I guess I'm gonna continue following the highway here through this cut through. Looks like some pretty nice views from that home right there. May have mentioned this before, but there's basically two different classifications of flight, excluding military and commercial, and actually overlapping into commercial, though. But there is VFR, which is visual flight rules. That's what we're flying right now. We're only flying by reference to what we can see, and that's the easiest, most basic form of flying. It's also the most fun, in my opinion. And then there's IFR, which is instrument flight rules, and that's the kind of flying that you do when you have to fly through rain and clouds and poor visibility, and basically you're handing your life over to an air traffic controller and trusting them not to run you into the side of a mountain or another airplane, because a great deal of the time, if you're flying IFR, you're not able to see what you're flying toward. And then there's little flying hacks like me who fly very simple, very small airplanes, who kid around about, yeah, I fly IFR too, but in our experience, IFR may not mean instrument flight rules. It may mean I follow roads. And that's the kind of flying I'm doing today. Prunedale we're overflying presently. And there's water. So that point straight ahead of us should be the point of land, just a little off to the right of our nose there, should be Pebble Beach. Point that extends out past Monterey, out toward the ocean. Monterey should be basically straight ahead on our nose, if I'm remembering my landscape correctly. I haven't flown here for a little while, but I'm familiar enough with it. Whoops! I just noticed that there was fog in this valley, and there it comes. Sometimes when I start the sim up, it takes a little time for all the little details of present weather and such like to populate. Also, traffic. Sometimes airplanes don't show up around me until I've had time for all of that stuff to download and install into the simulator. I kind of hate it when fog and clouds show up suddenly like this. Number one, it's not realistic, and number two, it's frustrating that I'm going to get there and not be able to see as well as I had thought I'd be able to and wanted to. When I'm taking you on a scenic tour, it'd be kind of nice to not have the impediment of poor visibility. Lots and lots of farmland, and actually in most of California, but certainly in this area. We're not far from Gilroy. I'm trying to remember what Gilroy is most famous for. Is it garlic? There's some kind of produce that Gilroy is well known for. I want to say it's garlic. Salinas area grows, I think, a lot of lettuce and other greens of that kind, as I believe I remember. And honestly, that kind of looks about right, doesn't it? Somewhere right over there on that sandbar, maybe a little bit further north, is Monterey Bay Academy Airport. It always surprises me to see. Okay. The aircraft's warning system is telling me I'm going too fast, and I'd better heed that. Cruising speed in this helicopter is said to be, I think, 137 knots. I ended up climbing up over that without even realizing it. It's interesting, the dunes along the coast over here and the houses that sort of settled into the depressions between the sand dunes. Okay, so I'm going to go out into the water out here in an effort to avoid being right in the pattern for the airport in case there are any real world flights that are coming in right now. I'm hoping to not connect and collide with any of those aircraft. As I said, the air traffic that we're likely to see, if we do see any, would be actual real flights that are occurring in the real world right now, and it would represent the type of aircraft usually fairly well. I'm going to go fly over the Pebble Beach area first, and then come at the airport is in that little valley over there. I'll come back and land there But first we'll take a little scenic jaunt over to the very upper crust luxury neighborhoods over here. The water's pretty smooth, so it says there shouldn't be that much wind here. Looks like by that little vein we've got 5 to 10 knots coming from our right hand side. The water textures in the sim will reflect quite well what kind of wind conditions there are across the surface of the water. So when it's breezy, you can tell because there will be choppy waves and some white caps and such. Right now there's just a mild disturbance to the surface of the water. So this 5 or 10 knots looks about right. So if I recall, I think these green belts that are right here on this point are Pebble Beach Golf Course. And I think it reaches along the coast up to that other point of land over there. Can't even imagine the amount of money it takes to buy a home right here. I bet it's a nice place to live though. Pretty sure the weather here should be quite good. I'm sorry for jerking my head around so much. Needing to make sure I keep flying safely. Maybe that the one we just passed back there on the point of land was a different, smaller golf course, because this looks much more expansive and it's disconnected from that one, so I'm kind of thinking this is probably Pebble Beach. Alright, well, since we're in a helicopter, let's circle back around and come back to the Monterey Bay, or the Monterey Regional Airport on a perpendicular course. Since I don't have to land on the runway, it'll be safer to avoid traffic by coming in at a 90-degree angle to the runway so that we won't be in anyone's flight path. At least that's my objective. Okay, why are we on an elevator? Strange place for a ridge lift, if that's what I'm experiencing. There's so many interesting currents in the air. It's been said that if you could see the motion of the air, you could see the way the air is moving, you'd never fly again. That's probably true, because we think of the air as a stagnant body of water kind of dynamic that you just swim your way through, but the fact is that it is very much in motion. It's more of a river than a lake. And there's all kinds of places where there are currents and columns of rising air and columns of plunging air, and those can catch you by surprise. Rising air can be your friend because it's a free ride up. Plunging air can be a deadly enemy because it will take you down and pound you into a mountain, and sometimes if your aircraft is not terribly strong, there's basically nothing whatsoever you can do about it. Right back there I found a column of rising air that I didn't expect. Sometimes it's from a warm field, a dark plowed field that the sun is warming can carry you aloft. A lot of times if there is a kind of a mountainside that you're flying near, the air moving along the surface of the earth will encounter that rising ridge, and it will push the air up, and that will push you up. Like I said, that can be your friend because it can take you hundreds or even thousands of feet into the air without having to pay for that in the cost of fuel and time to climb. On the other side of the same mountain ridge, you're likely to encounter downdrafts, which can become dangerous because they'll carry you to the earth. Yes, hello, Abby girl. Yeah, hi. My sweet dog came to check on me and make sure I'm okay. You might have heard her breath there just a moment ago. Okay, so here's the airport stretched out in front of us. I'm going to try to find a good place to land and not embarrass myself too much. Like I said, I'm not real familiar with this helicopter yet, and I'm still learning it. And while I can fly a helicopter without too much difficulty, landing it is another thing altogether. So we'll see how I do. Pick out a place that's out of the way. See if I can get over here on. Yeah. Come on. I think this is a good safe area here. Let's try that. Come on. Come on, stop running away. Come on. Oh, that was harsh. Alright, we're down. Safely. Alright, hope you enjoyed that. We'll see how good it looks when I get outside here.